All right, guys, happy Wednesday. I'm really sorry that we're running late today. I am not kidding when I say that for whatever reason, as we've been doing this investigation, right before we're about to do the show, there seems to be these big breaks. And then we are just clamoring. We're all over the place trying to gather everything that we've just realized. And I had a major break in the Kamala investigation, and I am stressed. I'm actually, as I said on Instagram, at the point where I personally want reparations from Kamala Harris. I actually think all of us are now personally due reparations from Kamala Harris for this book. The ancestral blackface that is going on is out of control. Obviously, we have been investigating Beryl, and you're just not going to believe what we've actually found out about Beryl's mom, Iris. So let's just get started right away. Welcome back to Candace. Kamala Harris, if that's even your real name, I just want you to know that you have an open invite to this show. I am probably the only person that will give you a serious interview, and I feel that I deserve it. Truly, I feel that I deserve this interview to sit down with you and learn who the hell you are or who the hell you think you are, because it does take a lot of audacity to do what you have done. So let's just pick up with Beryl, right? That is what we have been inching closer to, recognizing that we've been lied to about Beryl. That was the big break that we got last week. And as I said, I confirmed this with relatives in Kamala's family that she lied about Beryl. That picture is not the correct Beryl. She was light-skinned, and that she had a sister named Norma. So I just kind of wanted to focus on Beryl myself, because I just felt like you get this feeling that we're so close and there's something that's in our face and we're just kind of missing it. That's how I have felt throughout this entire process. Like, Candace, what are the pieces that you're putting together here? That the picture is appearing in front of you. So I said, let me go back and just kind of write down the bullet points of the things that we know as for sure, like basically as a fact about this alleged Beryl Finnegan that we have been looking for, okay? What do we actually have as presented as fact, rather, from Kamala or Kamala's father or somebody related to her family? So here it is. I'm going to take you guys through this list. Per Donald's essay, which was published in Jamaican Global Online, we know that Beryl's mother's name is Iris, that she went as Miss Iris. Per that same essay, we learned that Iris was married to Mr. Christie, which implies, it's not for certain, that his surname could include, that her surname could include Christie. So maybe we have Iris Christie somewhere. Or also maybe perhaps that we have a Beryl Christie somewhere, because perhaps we could assume that Mr. Christie is her father. What we know as an established fact from Donald's essay is that Iris and Mr. Christie ran a cane farm near, and I don't know if I've been saying this right, but I've been saying Ainan Town, or maybe it's Enan Town. That is, again, what he put in his essay. He also let us know that Beryl's mother, Iris, was involved in the church. We then knew, per Dorothy's memories, that Beryl was extraordinarily lighter than Kamala Harris. And again, I confirmed that with a relative, a direct relative of Kamala. The family said, no, that is not a picture of Beryl that is put in her book, which is explosive, and every mainstream news media outlet should be reporting on this. And of course, they are not, because they are terrified of this series, because they are complicit in all of these lies. And we also know that Beryl's mother's maiden name was Finnegan. We learned this, by the way, in his essay. He writes that her name was Nay Finnegan. We're going to actually read his essay directly, because there are some things that I really want to impress upon you. And lastly, as I said earlier, we know that she had a sister, that sister's name is Norma, and that Norma was even whiter than Beryl was. That has been confirmed by relatives. Okay. Now I want to jump into focusing on what specifically Donald wrote in his piece, because I had to just keep rereading it and keep rereading it for clues until finally it jumped on me. I'm taking you guys on the journey that I have been on over the last few weeks. Donald wrote that, and I'm just going to read, quote, "My roots go back within my lifetime to my paternal grandmother, Miss Christie, formerly Christiana Brown, descendant of Hamilton Brown, who is on record as plantation and slave owner and a founder of Brownstown, and to my maternal grandmother, this is where we're going to focus, Miss Iris, formerly Iris Finnegan, farmer and an educator from Ainan Town and Inverness, ancestry unknown to me." Okay, now here is the rest of Donald's piece. We're pulling this up for you if you'd like to read along. We're just focusing on the portion about Miss Iris, okay? Miss Iris, mother of 8 children too, was the sweetest and gentlest person one could meet. But underneath it was a tough farming woman who ran the cane farm at Thatchwalk near Enantown, jointly owned with her husband, Mr. Christie. She was always ready to go to church on Sunday to preach and teach about the revelations that she saw approaching the world at that time, during and after World War II, in accord with the Bible. I spent summers with her roaming around the cane field, fascinated by the mechanical operation of cane juicing by the old method, a wooden pole extended out from the grinding machine and tied to a mule, walking round and round to grind the cane. And eager to drink a cup of the juice caught directly from the juice flowing into the vat to be boiled and crystallized as raw sugar. No Coke or Pepsi could beat the taste of that fresh cane juice. It was a joy and a learning experience for me to hang out with the workers on the cane farm, see them wield a cutlass, the machete, with such flourish and finesse, listen to their stories of exploits, some too X-rated for me to repeat, and sit with them as they prepared their meal by putting everything in one big Dutch pot, cooking over an open fire in the field, and serving it out on a big banana leaf for all of us to eat sitting there. Looking back now, I can say with certainty, and all due credit to Miss Iris, that it was this early, intimate exposure to operation of the sugar industry at the local level of small-scale production with family labor and free wage labor, coupled with my growing curiosity about how these things came to be, that led me, once I started reading about the history of Jamaica, to a closer study of the sugar industry. I came then to understand its origin as a system of global production and commerce based on slave labor, with Jamaica as a key component of that system from its very start. Miss Iris died in 1981 at the grand old age of 93, and I grieved over the loss of someone so dear and close to me. She is shown here in a photo taken by me in 1966. Just back from church, proudly holding in her lap little Kamala, and confident in her firm prediction, even then, of the future achievements of her great-granddaughter, after giving her blessings by making a cross with her finger on the child's forehead. Okay, I wanted to read that to you so that you could be processing this information with me. I actually realized there are a ton of clues in here. There are aspects of this piece that never quite even made sense to me, by the way. The biggest thing that I thought was a glaring error of some description was the fact that he says that Iris was née Finnegan, that she was formerly Finnegan, implying that she then became Iris Christie because she says that she was married to Mr. Christie. I think we can reasonably assume that within this time frame, okay, this isn't like the woke United States 2024, men were not taking the surnames of women, right? So if he's being called Mr. Christie, it's likely not because he is taking her surname. And I thought that was very strange that he wrote née Finnegan because it would imply that she was born Finnegan. And we know that that wasn't accurate because we have Beryl's birth certificate, okay? So we have Iris's daughter, Beryl's, Grandma Beryl, birth certificate, and it lists Iris Finnegan, but it says that her name is formerly Allen, okay? So he should have written Iris née Allen as the mother. So that was always something that I just had in my head as a strange question mark. We're showing you that birth certificate right now. There we have, just as he listed, in Inverness, St. Anne, born in 1917. We have Beryl Magdalene, a female, and the mother is Iris Finnegan, formerly Allen, listed as a seamstress. Okay. So parking that aside, another thing that he gives us, he writes that she lived to the grand old age of 93. So I just went in my head, okay, how many people with the name Iris, Finnegan, Christie, whatever it is, have lived that long in that particular area in this time frame? We've got to be able to limit this down to just a few irises, maybe even just one iris. People just don't live into their 90s, right? So I was looking for a woman that was born around 1888 and lived until the 1980s with the surnames Christie or Finnegan, okay? Lo and behold, and by the way, I want to be clear, this is off by 2 years, But I was always comfortable with the idea that he may have had her birth year wrong or her death year wrong, because on Jamaican Global Online, they actually had to update this piece twice because Donald had the wrong death date and his wrong age dates for when Christiana Brown died. Quite strange, because when you're writing a piece, you can sit down and do the math. But I know that they had to adjust this piece a few times because of wrong dates for his grandparents. So lo and behold, I come across on Ancestry.com this entry of an Iris Christie. I'm going to show you this right now. Look at this. An Iris Christie, a female, death age 97, died in Kingston, Jamaica. Born, death date is in 1983, which puts her birth date at 1886. And it tells us that her spouse is Claudius Christie. I said, okay, like there could be another woman that lived this long with the exact same name around the exact same area. Let me see if I can locate a death certificate for this Miss Iris Christie. And we were, in fact, able to locate a death certificate. So let's pull that up here. All right, so we're getting a little more information here. We have this Iris Christie. It tells us that she died of respiratory failure. Okay, check. It tells us that she was married. Okay, check. It tells us that she lived to the ripe old age of 97. Now, he says 93 or 94, but okay, that doesn't put me off at all. Again, she was quite old, and he would have been quite young, and he maybe didn't have that correct. Tells us the birthplace is St. Anne. I'm feeling really good about this, and I'm going, okay, like, let's maybe look into Claudius Christie. Now, of course, what's missing here is we don't have any indication that her name was formerly Finnegan or at all Finnegan. So we're putting this in the maybe pile until we came across something else that was incredibly interesting. Just give me 30 seconds to toss this to one of our advertisers, and I'm going to tell you what that is. I want to let you guys know that this episode is being sponsored by Nimi Skincare, which is my favorite skincare brand out there. I'm always on Instagram using it. I love it because it's America's skincare company. They actually formulate and manufacture all of their skincare products right here in the USA while supporting pro-American causes and organizations. Nimi Skincare is true American luxury skincare, but their prices are affordable since they deliver directly to your door and they cut out the big box retailer middleman. Nimi has everything that you need to build an awesome daily skincare regimen, cleanse, brighten, protect. You can help fight the key signs of aging. Another reason I love Nimi is that they are a Christian-led company that stands firm in their values of faith, family, and freedom. So sign up right now at nimiskincare.com for a subscription. You'll save 15% on your routine and save an additional 5% if you use code Candace at checkout. Plus, you'll receive a free gift on every third order. If you aren't sure where to start, you can take their skincare quiz to find the perfect routine for your skin type. Again, that's NIMI skincare.com, promo code Candace today. Okay, so Claudius Christie. I'm like, let me see if I can find a guy named Claudius Christie on Ancestry. Okay, can't be that many of them, and there weren't that many of them within this time frame. We only stumbled upon two, and these two were clearly related. Okay, so we have a Claudius Christie, who we now know was married to an Iris Christie, and this is the screenshot that instantly came up that made me go, oh. Okay, look at this screenshot from Ancestry.com. Claudius E. Christie, and then you see it says relative S.S. Finnegan. Oh, but look at the birth. We have the birth in Jamaica, Edentown, St. Anne. Okay, things are happening here. Things are happening here. So pull that back up. So we know that this man was married to Iris, and for whatever reason, this document, and you can see we're going to get into a U.S. passenger list, a ship that is going to New Orleans. Like, what are we talking about here? And from Edentown, like now I'm like, okay, we're getting real specific here. Edentown, Iris, Mr. Christie. You're not going to convince me we don't have the right Mr. Christie here. But I said, let's take a look and see what we can come up with, okay? This is just crazy. So let's take a look at this document, this ship manifest document, and see if anything jumps out at us, okay? So just to be clear, when you're seeing that SS Finnegan, what happens is that when people are on Ancestry, they are trying to read this old script and they're writing whatever they think that it says, or doing their best to write what they think that it says, to decipher what it is that people are writing. And obviously, this is quite old. This is from 1943. And we have this ship, again, the David C. Shanks ship. Now, this instantly flagged in my head because I remember that Lawford Newland. Remember that name when we found a marriage certificate between a Beryl and a Lawford Newland, and Lawford, for whatever reason, was going for agricultural work into New Orleans. And I was going, this doesn't make any sense. Beryl was supposed to have money, and we know Beryl had money because her son was rolling around. Her son, Kenneth, has been rolling around in a motorcycle, and Dorothy fondly remembers that, remembers them running the store. So that was, I'm already like, okay, now we have Mr. Christie on the same exact ship, headed to the same exact place, presumably also for agricultural work. So it's 2 pages. I'm going to give you first the bird's eye view of page 1 of this manifest, and then we'll cut over here to page 2, and now we're going to do a close-up of what it says, okay? So there you can see that we have 2 Claudius Christies, and they are traveling together, and it says Claudius Christie 33, that's the age, Claudius Christie 24, and then you can see in the further column that it lets us know, yes, he is from Enon Town, St. Anne, Jamaica. Okay. Now, if we get to that second page, and this is exactly how we did it today too, I went, okay, that person wrote SS Finnegan, but I don't see SS Finnegan, right? I see maybe JJ Finnegan. I asked Mark, my director, he's like, yeah, no, I see JJ. That I don't think there's anybody that makes an S like that in cursive. So we're going, okay, well, interesting. But actually what I find more interesting is that next to it, in parentheses, it says what I believed was friend. I'm going, wait a second. This guy is married, okay? He's married to Iris. This shouldn't be a friend of his. This should be some sort of a relative. We again see Enon Town, St. Anne, Jamaica, and beneath it, I can't make out who his father is. Looks to me to say like Jamie Christie might be the father, but I'm going, why would JJ Finnegan, and maybe I'm just reading the cursive wrong, be listed as a friend? And then I said, wait, what is this column in general? Like, what is this column asking for them to fill out? And here's what the top of that column says. It says the name and complete address of the nearest relative or friend in the country whence the alien came, or if none there, then in the country of which a citizen or subject. So he has put down that he's got a friend. I don't know if this is like to vouch for, is just writing down a friend would be this JJSSTT. We don't really know, but we've got a Finnegan friend, and this math is not mathing. Furthermore, on this document, this Mr. Christie is listed as a Black Negro. Now, why is that relevant? Well, it's relevant because Donald Harris has provided us with a photo of his wife, Miss Iris Christie. Okay? Miss Iris, is very much Black, very, very dark-skinned, the woman that is holding Kamala Harris. And now we are being told, informed by this ship manifest, that her husband was also a Black Negro. And I am not saying that I am a geneticist. I am not saying that I am 23andMe, but I've been around. I've been around enough to know that 2 Black Negroes cannot produce a white Norma or an Irish-looking Beryl. So what the heck is going on here? Also, just like I said about Lawford Newland and Beryl, typically people who own and operate farms and are operating stores are not out here on ships to America looking to pick up work, agricultural work with their sons or their relatives. So I said, can we find Claudius's birth certificate? Okay, can we find Claudius? Maybe Claudius had money, I don't know, and then gave it to his wife, and then she gave it to Beryl. Like, who is this Claudius Christie? And here's what we came up with. Yeah, here's Claudius's birth certificate. Claudius was born in 1895, so that makes sense, having married Iris. And it tells us that his mother's name is Mlle Christie, and that she was a laborer. Gosh, where so many laborers, where is all of this money coming from? You guys, what are we to make of this? I will tell you what I have made of this. I think I was correct from day one, okay? What they have done is they have merged identities, okay? I very much believe on the basis of what Donald wrote in his piece that he knew the identity of the people who worked on the farm. He did. He tells you. He ran around. They told him the stories. Like, okay, so he knew these workers. He knew these agricultural workers. And there's no doubt in my mind that he had a real relationship with them. Such a real relationship that I believe that Donald Harris merged the identity of the people who worked on the farm and the people who owned it. I believe the people who owned that farm are his true grandparents, okay? I think Kamala's real great-grandmother was Ora Iris Allen, okay? Not Nay Finnegan. I believe it is Nay Allen, that she was Ora Allen. And I know and now believe that he told the truth about her love of preaching the Bible, because now that I had that in my mind, I said, let me just look up Ora Allen. Let me look up Ora Allen. We're looking up Ora Christie, look at all this stuff. What about just Ora Allen? And would you believe that we were able to stumble upon an Iris Allen multiple times in the Kingston Gleaner as an evangelist for the New Testament Church of God, Cambridge St. James. I'm going to show you that piece right here. Cambridge, you have Rev. Winston Williams and evangelist Iris Allen, multiple entries that tell us that she was involved with this church. And when I mapped out where this church was, ladies and gentlemen, it was in St. Anne. So again, what do we have a circumstance of? Well, I'm telling you right now, if the next journalist that is in front of her does not begin to ask her questions about this, okay, then we know that everyone is simply a fraud, because this is unbelievably scandalous, okay? It is unbelievably scandalous. I truly believe with everything in me that that picture of Beryl that she used was likely a woman whose name was Beryl. I don't doubt that, but it wasn't her grandma, okay? That wasn't Grandma Beryl. That was likely a grandma. That was likely somebody's grandma who had been working on a farm which was in part owned by her father's family. And similarly, for this Iris Allen and these women who never quite looked affectionate in these photos with Kamala Harris, yeah, I believe that that woman likely worked on that farm for a very long time. And so he had the confidence to take their names and to merge their identities with his true relatives who he does not want to give to the public. So now I am very interested in the true Iris Allen, okay, and who, in fact, her husband is. Maybe Allen was her married name, who knows? But I'm interested in the Allen family because I think this all but proves that she has completely lied about both of these grandparents. Because like I said, I ain't a geneticist. I don't do genetics, but I've been around. And you just cannot tell me that two Negro blacks created a white Irish-looking woman and an even whiter woman who we have still yet to find. And that's all I'm going to say on that topic for right now. All right, guys, medical tests can reveal your body's biological age, which will show if you are aging prematurely. Better nutrition has been shown to reverse one's bio-age. My hope of living longer and healthier is why I take Field of Greens. Field of Greens is an organic superfood fruit and vegetable drink, unlike any other. It is serious nutrition. Listen to this. Field of Greens was approved for a university study that doctors believe may lower your body's biological age. That just means better health. Each fruit and vegetable in Field of Greens was selected by doctors to support vital body functions like your heart, liver, kidneys, metabolism, and your immune system. Make Field of Greens your go-to for getting the nutrients you need. I'm sure you'll love Field of Greens, but if you don't, you can return it for a full refund. Right now, my listeners will get a 15% off of their first order and free rush shipping if you visit fieldofgreens.com and use promo code Candace. Again, that's promo code Candace at fieldofgreens.com. Fieldofgreens.com. All right, guys. Now I'm shaken by this. I'm just shaken by this. This woman is just, this is ancestral blackface. It is just ancestral blackface. And the reason why I know that we have stumbled upon the truth is because she is very nervous now to discuss her blackness. I'm going to show you her just yesterday in an interview. But first, I want to go back in memory lane because now they're trying to play the Men in Black hold up the little instrument and just wipe our memory and pretend that she actually never ran on being Black and that wasn't ever a thing. So I just want to make sure that I remind everyone that it was the thing. Like, we didn't do this because we just decided to wake up one day and choose violence. They chose violence by going after Janet Jackson, and we rose to the occasion. So let's take a trip down memory lane and take a look at some clips of Kamala really just speaking about she didn't even say she was Black. At once upon a time, 2006, she said she was African-American. Like, there is no African in this woman, okay? Jamaican percentage at most, but in 2006, at the State of the Black Union, she became African. Take a listen.
It is morally incorrect, but nobody cares about that. You can look at Katrina. Nobody cares about the fact that we've got a bunch of young Black and brown men in prison. That argument is not working. What I suggest we do as African Americans is own this issue in law enforcement and then define it in the way that works for us, because it is a myth to say that African Americans don't want law enforcement. We do. We want our grandmothers to be able to walk to church and be safe. We want our babies to be able to walk to the park and be safe. What we don't want is racial profiling. What we don't want is excessive force.
That's right.
What we don't want is to have our civil liberties and civil rights be stripped. But we do want law enforcement.
Okay, Kamala, thus far you're like an Indian Canadian Jew, but we'll just go with that for a second and also watch this clip of her being interviewed by Uncle Luke on people questioning her Blackness that was posted to her YouTube. This is 2019. Take a listen.
When people question your Blackness, you were on that bus, you were part of the civil rights movement, but the struggle is convincing people that this is a strong Black woman who lives a strong Black life, and why is there any question?
You're right, it's frustrating. There was this one journalist who said to me, I'm doing this interview, and he says, well, you have family members that went to Stanford and Harvard, but you chose to go to Howard. No, elite schools like Stanford, but you chose to go to Howard. Now, you know I was ready to hang this thing up.
Right.
I was literally, I was about to go off, which would not have been cool, because I'm trying to get elected.
Yeah, but you went to Howard.
But they went to these elite schools, and you went to, and I said, well, you do know that Howard University is the Mecca. Like,
exactly.
Just put that, let's put that in its place.
She literally nods and says yes, as he says, you were a part of the civil rights movement. And like she was trying to sell that she was a part of this effort to desegregate. And then we fact checked that, and the lie detector determined that was a lie, that was untrue. That obviously, nope, not at all. Nope. Only thing was that San Francisco, which had already had desegregation for years. This was desegregated. They just realized that like too many Black kids were going to one school versus another. Schools, again, were not segregated. They just realized that based on where people lived, because of your bus districting, that a lot of Black kids were going to one school, a lot of white kids were going to one school, and they wanted to fix that by changing the bus route. So, if you grew up like in the 90s, like me, sometimes you had to go very far to go to school, right? And you're like, why do I have to pass the closer school to go to the school that's very far? Well, that's because they were like, well, we want to kind of even out white versus Black because the neighborhoods are kind of dictating which school people go to. That's all. That's it. So when they first started doing that, now she has written into her legacy that she was a part of desegregation, even though there was absolutely no segregation. So that is just really incredible. Now she's Rosa Parks, ladies and gentlemen. And it gets worse. I think, honestly, this might be the worst, is when she's introduced as the first Black female VP at the 113th NAACP National Convention. Take a listen.
Not only are we meeting as a group for the first time since the coronavirus pandemic turned our lives upside down, but we are joined by the first Black female Vice President of the United States of America. We have waited far too long to have a Black woman representing us in the White House. It is imperative that we support her and uplift her. All of the progress she has made and continues to make for our community, we must support her. Nothing, I repeat, nothing is more unstoppable than a black woman in action.
Oh, it is so good to be here with all my sisters and brothers. Let me just thank Vice Chair Boykinstown for that incredible introduction.
Incredible introduction. She loved it. She ate it up. Yes, first black here I am, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters. It's not funny. I'm deeply upset about this. So let's fast forward to yesterday, okay? Because this is just incredible. She's now freaking out when somebody, this journalist realizes, hey, you're no longer leaning into the historic nature of your campaign. Obviously, what this journalist meant was, weren't we all doing the, like, you're the first black person running, and you are just going to watch Kamala filibuster this, and suddenly she don't want to talk about wonderful introductions. Take a listen to her being interviewed by Hallie Jackson for NBC News.
You've been reluctant to lean into, to talk about the historic nature of your candidacy on the campaign trail. Why is that?
Well, I'm clearly a woman. I don't need to point that out to anyone. The point that most people really care about is, can you do the job? And do you have a plan to actually focus on them?
I hear you on that.
That is why I spend the majority of my time listening and then addressing the concerns, the challenges, the dreams, the ambitions, and the aspirations of the American people. They deserve to have a president who's focused on them, as opposed to a Donald Trump who's constantly focused on himself. I think that's part of why people are exhausted with Donald Trump and his approach, because it's all about himself and his personal grievances, and not about the American people, not about how are you going to help families, how are you going to help small businesses, how are you going to strengthen our economy. These are the things I'm focused on. I'm focused on investing in the new industries on which America should lead and be a global
We can come
leader.
out of this. I mean, you can just see the filibuster is strong. And credit to that woman, Hallie from NBC. She's a real one, because you know what she was trying to ask. She's like, no, I hear you, but... And Kamala's like, I'm clearly a woman. Yeah, that wasn't the historic nature of their campaign. Hillary Clinton already ran twice. The historic nature, which if you had let Hallie finish her statement and you weren't going to let her because you're no dummy and you know people are onto you now, the historic nature that you seem now somewhat reluctant to speak about is your blackness. You lean into that a lot. Come on. The brothers, the sisters, we're out here waiting for you to speak about your blackness. She doesn't want to do it anymore, guys, because we've been telling you the truth. She's the worst kind of racist. I'm telling you, you can't just be out here plagiarizing grandmas. You can't just be out here plagiarizing agricultural laborers who likely worked on the farms that your family have owned for generations, because we now know that you were a direct descendant of slave owners. So sitting here talking about what black people are struggling with due to historic injustice, you are really going to have to pipe down, ma'am. You have to pipe down right now. Speaking of race baiting, you know, Barry Soetoro's obviously now doing the rounds. They're very nervous about black men who are not getting into shape. They're like, black men, you know what you got to do. Vote for the Democrats. And who better to tell you than like an Indonesian Hawaiian and a white rapper? Because if you're having an identity crisis, this is the dream team. We had Eminem welcoming Barry Soetoro to the stage while he appeared at a Kamala Harris rally in Detroit, Michigan. I believe this was yesterday. And we can just take a listen to how that went down.
I think Vice President Harris supports a future for this country where these freedoms and many others will be protected and upheld. And here to tell you much more about that, President
Barry
Barack Obama.
Soetoro.
You know, I have done a lot of rallies, so I don't usually get nervous. But I was feeling some kind of way following Eminem. I mean, I notice my palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, body in my sweater already, mom's spaghetti. I'm nervous, but on the surface I look calm and ready to drop bombs, but I keep on forgetting.
All right, I'm with them. I'm with them. That's it. We got a president rapping. Clearly he's black. I'm with them. I don't know about you guys. Sign me up. Sorry, Trump. Don't care about anything happening with the economy. I'm black and I heard a rap. That's all it takes. We're back. We're so back. We are so back, black men. Did you hear him? The flow? It was crazy. It was crazy. You guys know what to do. You know what to do. 2 weeks away from the election, you go be black and vote for whoever can drop the most bars. And brothers, you gotta go out there and do what you gotta do. All right, guys. Well, today's economic environment is stressful for a lot of us, but with the Fed finally dropping interest rates, there is no better time than now to put you and your family in a better financial position. If you're a homeowner, American Financing is helping thousands of families just like you get out of underneath all of that credit card debt by tapping into their home's equity line. American Finance is saving their borrowers an average of $800 a month. $800 a month is like a $10,000 raise at work annually, and it costs absolutely nothing to find out how much you could be saving. They're closing some in as little as 10 days, and if you start today, you may not even have to make next month's mortgage payment. There is no better time than now to turn your situation around, so call today. The number is 800-795-1210. That's 800-795-1210, or visit americanfinancing.net/Owens. It's americanfinancing.net/Owens. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you have been liking this series, it has been a horror show. It has been an American horror show series, and it's not fiction. Like, everything we're uncovering is just a fact. The only thing that's fiction is Kamala's entire life. This entire book is what's fiction, and us just going through it and destroying it is a fact. If you want to support us, you can head to locals.com and give what you can monthly. Obviously, we are not funded by YouTube. We got hit pretty hard very quickly, all in one day, demonetized, but we're okay with it because we appreciate the freedom to say what we think and do not want to be slaves to YouTube or Kamala's ancestors. I don't want to be a slave to Kamala's ancestors and have to lie about her and pretend that she's black. I don't want to do it. I really just do not want to do it. All right, guys, very quickly, we are going to now jump over to Rumble and read some comments. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, hit subscribe wherever you are, Rumble, YouTube, and we will see you over there. All right.